Coach, thank you. Listen, can I like quote you and then take it as real? I never won Wimbledon as a coach. Got to like the semifinals like 6 or 7 times, but no leaving as a winner. So I'll take it if you want to give it to me. How you doing, everybody? I'd like to think of myself as 60 years young. I'm a lifer in tennis. I started playing tennis when I was 3 years old. It was kind of a conspiracy in my household. You know, I had an older brother, older sister that played. So it was either you play or you watch. You know, so I chose playing at an early age. It took me about 5 months to get to the court. You know, my dad wouldn't let me get to the court till I could make 50 in a row on the wall. So by the time I got out there when I was about 3.5, I was ready to rock. Today we're going to go over a few simple things that can really help a lot of your players at all levels. We're going to go over some shots. And the first one, I call it the free throw. The forehand down the middle of the court, the most important shot in the game. Also the most misunderstood shot in the game. We're going to work on the runaround forehand, the importance of the cross-court shot, and lastly, your defending skills. So just some simple, and I know all of you have lots of different levels and different challenges, you know, between, you know, your highest and lowest. But all of these things today we're going to be talking about and working on are for all levels. Everybody faces different complications in what they're trying to do out there, but I'm not trying to single out somebody. This is specifically for a 7-0, an 11-0, a 9-0. These are things that for everybody that they can do. And I understand too, you know, obviously there's the challenges when you have way different levels on the courts. The only live ball that we'll do today is on, I call it the importance of cross court. Most of these are like drills that you can do, and you can do these drills from wildly different skill set levels. A lot of people, believe it or not, have trouble with some of the easiest balls, and some of them, you know, everybody's different. All right, anybody got any quick questions before we go? Every day when you guys come to the practice courts, what I learned most from my coach, you guys can't afford to have an off day. Players can have an off day. But if a player and coach have an off day together, it's really problematic. So that's the one thing that I totally understand is every day that you come to the courts, you have an opportunity to make it better. And if you have to fake it, everybody's faked it because they've got something else going on in their life. But you know what? The kids don't need to know that. The kids need to know that you're there to put in the effort to make it better for them. I was influenced by my coach, and there's not a day that goes by that I ever take that for granted. All right, who's ready to learn a little bit about some basic stuff? Okay. I call the most important shot in the game one of the easier shots, and I call it a free throw. It's also a shot that so many players take for granted, and a lot of times when I work with good players, I ask them about this shot, and I hear some unbelievably interesting answers. One of the answers I hear a lot on this ball that's right down the middle of the court to, let's say, in your guys' level, so 6, 7s, 8s, sometimes even good players, I don't want to miss this shot. I don't want to miss it. And more often than not, believe it or not, the first ball in a point can be right down the middle. I like to think whenever you get a ball down the middle of the court, it has no memory. Doesn't matter if it's the first ball, third ball, fifth ball, instantly your thought should be, take the lead. Good footwork, take the lead. Also, the other thing that you see from a lot of good players and even lower level players, I call it big eyes. They go massive and they overcook it and you miss it. Tennis is about numbers. If we do a drill of 5 or 6 balls down the middle, you miss 3, you make 3. You're even. This is a ball where, you want to be making 4, 5, 6. You want to be making it. You want to be making it and taking the lead. So I think about everything on all levels as plus and minus. If you hit 2 screaming good ones, you don't get any extra points. You miss 4, that's -2. That you got to find 2 other points in a game to be even. So I always think about the plus minus of everything. All right. Where are my feeder? Where's my hitter? Okay. Which side do you want to go on? Which side do you feel more confident on? Okay. I'm going to hit her a couple and feed her a couple and see what she's going to do. And then I'm going to tell you a couple things I see. Okay, we're going to go 6 balls right down the middle of the court. Each forehand, I want you to take it somewhere. I can call it for you or you can play it. So great thing to do on this is to set up simple targets. Targets are not meant to be near the line. I like to think of on this shot, a target is 4 by 4. It's a box. It's 4 feet width. It's 4 feet length. Because 95% of the kids will call it out if you hit the line anyways. For some mysterious reason, most kids and a lot of coaches will watch, the line is out, especially on a 3-all point. Inside the line is out. So that's why you take this shot with a lot of margin. And you want to take the lead. 6 balls. Let me see your forehand here. All right, not bad, not bad, not bad. 3. 4, good, 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 good. Okay, how many did she make there? Okay, and all of those 6 balls, instantly, her thought go one way or the other and take the lead. So coaches, very crucial when you're talking to even lower level and higher level. This is a simple drill I've worked on with every player I've ever coached. More often than not, the first thing that most players will do is not move their feet. They'll relax, I've got an easy ball, and the next thing you know, you just want to swing at it. So what did you notice the first thing that Akami did there? Let me see a hand. Nobody's going to raise their hand? Move your feet. Created separation. If you watch Rafa and Fed, 2 of the greatest players ever, they're the 2 best of all time at the forehand down the middle of the court. Every single time they create separation, they don't take the shot for granted. So many kids will play this shot. They think for a second, they don't move their feet, they get trapped, they get robbed of time, and a lot of times, they'll just push it because all of a sudden they were thinking what they're going to do. But the first thing that you do is feet to brain, create some separation. Okay, I want you to do 6 here. I don't want you to move your feet. This is where you see a lot of kids, they relax and think this is an easy ball. When you relax and it's an easy ball, the easy ball becomes a difficult ball. All right, same 6. She's actually still hitting it pretty good. All right, how many did she make there? Okay, there's -3 that she just gave away. This is a drill so often that you see with kids, even elite juniors. It's like they think for a second, I relax, easy ball. And then that's when you give. Or the worst thing that you can do is just slam it too. And you make one good one and you miss 5. But the very first thing you want to do is create separation. She did that on the first 6. So when I feed you, and tell me, what is your first thought as soon as that ball comes down the middle to you?
I want to turn my shoulders so I get my strike zone.
Okay. Not bad. So like for me, I can tell you this, since I've been maybe 5 years old, every time I see this ball, I get excited. Ding, ding, ding. For me, it's an opportunity to take the lead in the point. That's your biggest goal at every level, is to take the lead in the point. You know, it's great if you can win it outright, but we're not all skilled like Fed and Rafa. You know, and a lot of kids will feel like if I hit a screamer, but I missed 4, but I hit the screamer, I'll think about it in plus minus. So absolutely crucial that this is a shot you can practice every day. I asked Fed if he had one shot to work on every day, only one shot. What shot do you think he told me he'd work on? Nobody? Exactly, the forehand down the middle of the court. Because he goes, if I feel good about my forehand, I feel good about my game. And way too many players focus their game on their weakness and they neglect their strength. So I'd like to think even at lower levels, it's more important to focus on your strength, feel good about your strength, and manage your weakness. It's absolutely crucial. You know how many times I'm going to ask you, how many times a set do you think you'll get a ball straight down the middle?
Not that often.
I'm going to say probably at the high school level and in junior level when I watch, believe it or not, you're going to get this ball 25 to 30 times a set. And if you get this ball 25 times a set and you can go 18-7 on those points, that's plus 11. If you're better, you can go 20-5. And depending on, you know, your brain set, a lot of times, believe it or not, kids will pass the very first ball right down the middle of the court. And that's the one, the very first ball, we start to get worried. Ooh, I don't want to miss that ball. But when you get this ball, are you feeling like at any point like you should pull back on this?
Sometimes when I'm tight in a match, yeah.
Okay, when you're tight, okay, it's a great question. So this ball, and Andre would tell you, has no memory. It doesn't matter. It's like a casino. They're gonna stick every single time a 17. They're gonna hit every time at a 16 on a blackjack. This shot, if it's 4-all, do you guys play no ad scoring? If it's a 3-all point, or it's a first point of a game, you get a ball that's short down the middle of the court. Your goal should be to make your opponent go left or right. If you can do that, you probably, let's say you're under a 10 level UTR, you're probably going to be in the 70th percentile to win the point if you can get your opponent on the first ball, left or right. So that's your goal. And if literally you want to build up somebody's confidence, every day is work on this shot, and then all of a sudden that's what they'll be looking for. You can take care of this one shot. Okay, this is a great thing to do here. I'm going to call it this time. So all of a sudden you got the basket. I'm going to call it for you, all 6. Cross. Inside out. Inside out. Cross. Inside in. Inside out. So it's a good thing, so then all of a sudden it makes her identify a little bit. Did everybody get my calling there? You're shaking your head. So each time I was calling where I wanted her to hit the ball before she even hit the ball. This specific shot. So, you know, meaning cross. Or she's a little bit on this side, it's inside in. The safest shot to hit on this is inside out because you've got the most amount of court to work with. So there's a lot of things that you can do with this shot. There's a lot of things that can go wrong with this shot. I feel like this one shot, that if you can master this one shot, you start to feel a lot better about your game. And the fear factor of like not wanting to miss. All right? I want you to do the same thing now and be uber aggressive. This is what we'll see from a lot of really good players at, maybe 11s and 12s. All right? Down, go big. There we go, good. Come on. All right, how many she make? Okay. More often than not, this is a shot where you'll see like higher level players playing and they overcook this shot. If you make 3, that's 3 that were given away. So I think about this shot for all your levels. You're 1 player, you're number 3 player on your JV. Massive difference. But you guys can do the same thing on the same court working on this. You want to do anywhere from 5 to 10 sets of 6 on this ball, where you're doing maybe a 10, 15 second recovery. You don't need to recover physically, but you just need it mentally to reset a little bit. All right, now what'd you feel like right there? Did you feel like you were taking a little bit of a risk on some of those?
Yeah.
Why?
I don't know, when you try to be too aggressive, sometimes you forget about spin.
The one thing that I saw from you that was different when you tried to get uber aggressive there was less than when you were like going 3/4. So actually when you're going bigger is when you actually got to even be more active with your feet. All right, let me see one more set here. Going big, let me see you be a little bit more active with your feet. I'll call them. Cross. Inside out. Cross. Inside in. Cross. Inside out. Okay, how much you make there? Little more active with your feet. So this is a ball right here. From the way I see that you play, it should be ding, 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 feet aggressive, pick a shot, and give yourself a big target. If she's making a ball like that, there's a really good chance on the next ball that you're going to have a chance to win the point outright. So this shot is crucial about footwork. It kind of, you get excited, and then it's about your execution of your feet and execution of your shot. Set up targets and make sure that you give yourself lots of space. If you find your players are hitting the ball here, close, let them know. Kids call the ball out, and there's no reason when you have an easy ball to take a risk. Andre would try to bludgeon this ball, but he just bludgeoned it to like a huge target. It's a lot easier to make a ball big and make your opponent deal with that, even if they've got court to work with. All right, who's got any questions about this shot?
Stay back. They don't come in and attack. So how can I get their mindset a little bit different? Will this drill do different? Or how do I give them a verbal cue? What can I get them to understand that that's a short ball? Because to me, a ball that bounces anywhere, just inside between the baseline and the service line, that's a short ball. We need to go. but they hit and retreat. And what happens is 90% of the time, now we switch the court right there at that moment.
Okay, it's a good question. But you notice on any of those balls, I didn't tell her to come forward.
Right.
That ball to me wasn't a ball that you needed to come forward. You know what you can do, which is crucial on this ball? All of a sudden you see, after you've made a really good ball, you've executed, you see that your opponent maybe is going to have to go to one hand, or they're going to be completely on the stretch. Now we can move forward. I didn't say for her to take that ball and run through it. So I was feeding her on average about here. So if that ball is coming more here, it's asking you to come forward. You will probably have to come in, because I'll feed her a little bit shorter. If all of a sudden I feed that ball and you're hitting a forehand here, it's really difficult to then all of a sudden backpedal and go back. So we're talking about a ball here. It's not hit very hard. I call this an opportunity ball. It's an opportunity to take over the point and take the lead. Okay? I'll feed the same ball here to her, a little bit shorter, and we'll force her to come in. So that's a ball here that's more on the service line down the middle. Same ball, go get it. See right there? After she plays that ball that close in, because you're going to get that ball a lot, if she's retreating on that ball, you're probably giving up your lead in the point.
The problem I have is that some of the balls are hit with such spin and such pace that despite the ball bouncing there, the second bounce is behind the baseline. So in their mind, they still read that as a rally ball back there. Where I'm with you, we got to come in and meet that ball.
So you have, from the time there's a ball on the opposite side to the time you're making contact, you got a half a second. And you can't waste the half a second the entire time thinking about what you're going to do, because the ball's dropping. So that's why when you do these drills, especially you call them, you start helping them in their brain make a decision, and then if you do it enough, that decision will become their own. So on that ball right there, again, she's got no choice here to go get it. Now on the same ball, I could feed this here up. Same kind of thing. There's no way that you have any other choice at all levels. But you know what most kids will do on that ball? For about 1/1000, 2/1000, 3/1000, they'll be thinking, oh shit, what am I going to do? And what happens is on that, the ball drops, and that's why a lot of kids can hit balls like this, just like a little nub ball, and they can win points on that because you start thinking about what you're going to do. Soon as the ball is short like that, if anything, just yell, go get it. And if you get there sooner, you got more options. But if the ball is inside the service line, it's asking you to come forward. It doesn't matter what level you are. It's asking you, and if you get there quick enough, you can be aggressive like she was right there. All right, did that answer your question? All right, anybody else got any questions? Yes, sir.
When you're working with a player, what technical comments do you find yourself repeating over and over again, and what do you look for and why? Like, when you're giving them cues, because everybody learns different, right? Some people might be a little twitchy, some people might be a little tight. What things do you see that you identify and find yourself repeating commonly?
Good question. First and foremost on this, it's the instantaneous opportunity with your feet and racket preparation to make this ball what it should be. And most kids on the easy ball, they relax for a second because they think the ball is moving slow. I've got time and I've got an opportunity to think about what I want to do. I mean, obviously if somebody's got a huge hitch in their swing, we're not going to be able to fix that. Coach, you're not going to be able to fix 9 players, and they've all got glaring technical glitches. But what we can do is fix their brain. We can fix their feet. We can make it to where they can function maybe with that hitch. And also I think that, great thing to do when you have some lower level kids and you're trying to fix hitch. This is where you do this with the green dot ball. This is where you do it with a red dot ball. So they actually, have a little time to hold it on their racket. And it's not easy to fix a technical change, a glaring weakness in somebody's swing when you got multiple, it's not just one kid, it's 10 kids. But we can do this drill and you can speed them up. You can get their alert going. So that's what I'm trying to get on this sense of urgency. This ball requires sense of urgency, even though it's easy, it's fat down the middle. Watch Rafa. He's the greatest I've ever seen at this. His sense of urgency is like it's a 9, it's a fire. He never takes a shot for granted. And that's the beauty of this shot, is sense of urgency, take the lead left or right. Don't wait for that ball to come to you. On the ones that were a little bit deeper, it's still a fairly easy ball. And we're trying to take the lead on it. Here's a good one you could do. Here's 6 balls. This same drill, okay? You can add a little cardio in this. I'm going to hit you a short one. I want you to zizz back to the baseline. Go get it, come on. Go back. Go get it. Go back. Come on. Go back. Come on. Come on. Go get it. Come on, one more. Great feet. How many should you make right there? Now, one thing that you can add in on this same drill, 2 balls, short ball, and then just hit her an easy volley. Go get it. So it's just you can add in a little bit if your players are not used to that. But this one shot, believe it or not, you get so much, and you get it so often on the first ball. So many kids will hit a defensive shot on the first ball because it's like the mindset, I don't want to miss, especially if it's a big point. And when you get that ball, even if you're a 7 or 8, what you want to do is whatever your level is just take that ball here, take that ball here, take the lead on that ball. Don't be afraid. I'd rather you take a risk a little bit on that ball and miss than miss where you're trying not to miss. And then even if you made it, all you were doing was staying in the point. So sometimes it's easier to control the overcooking than it is the undercooking. Does it make sense? All right, anybody else got any things with this shot?
Hey, Brad. So you're hollering at your player to motivate them to come in, and it's repetition until it becomes a natural thing for them.
100%.
Okay.
And then you know what you could do on the same drill? You can do it, I used to do it with Murray a lot. Let's say we do 8 or 10 sets. You call 6, you call 4, you call 2, you call 1. But you don't let him know which one it is. And then he might say to me, why'd you call the 4th one? Because you thought maybe I would call the 3rd or the 6th.
And you're saying areas in the court when you call those numbers, or?
No, I wasn't calling any numbers. I was saying on each ball, cross, inside out, inside in, based upon the shot, based upon my eyesight seeing that, like, you know what? You had a little more court to work with there. You had a little better option there. I'm thinking on that. So when you start to do that, and you start to make those simple calls, It kind of like helps the player relax a little bit. You do it enough, they start to do it themselves. They'll start, all of a sudden in the same practice, she could start going, she start hitting that shot inside in, inside out. And then all of a sudden it makes you react even quicker. And the more that you react on this shot, the more that you are at taking care of this point. All right, get a sip of water. You okay? Okay. The next drill here, you will see more pros, good college players, first or second point of the match, because so many coaches will kind of reiterate to their player about their feet. Your feet are connected to your brain. When you're tight, it's your feet locked down, and your feet and brain work together. So that's why you will see more good players run around their backhand to start matches. You always have an opportunity with the forehand to run around a backhand. It's so much difficult to do it the other way around. If somebody's got a really good backhand, it's so much more difficult to run around with the backhand, on your forehand. So it's a great drill that you see players do to start matches, and they make the ball a forehand. Even though it's probably not, it's just getting your blood going and expanding your forehand. Okay. I'm going to go behind you. This is what we're going to do. I'll get my little cardio here. Okay, you're going to shadow me. Go behind me. So we're going to do 6 forehands. So you're just going to copy my 6 forehands. And the whole key to this is early racket preparation. Here we go. Go. Okay. Tell me what I was doing there. Nobody?
Modeling proper footwork, and you're modeling what the student should be doing during their point.
I was like making myself find a forehand. Instantly taking up my heart rate and my intensity. And this is a great drill when you do this. So, instantly, like all of a sudden you got to react. And you can't run around a forehand if all of a sudden the ball is already across the net, it's too late. It's like maybe you've hit a good ball, they're going to be back playing cross, and you do it early. It's early recognition, early footwork. Believe it or not, let's say you have a player that's a 7 or 8, it's the one good shot they have as a forehand. The coach should be saying, you know what? We got to find way more forehands. Protect your backhand, find your forehand more. All right, 6 here. Let's see how she does in a little hyperspeed. I'm not telling you, where we're going with him. All balls, forehands. Come on, come. Okay, one thing I can show you to be better on your forehand. So, the difference between me and Cam on that, when you're moving and your racket's down. When I'm moving with my forehand up, because if I'm late, I can take a swipe at the ball. So every time, if you watch a lot of the guys and girls, when they run around, the very first thing they're doing, racket up. You get a little late, you can take a swipe at the ball. A lot of kids, when you run around, they're late, and the last minute they got to raise up and swipe at it. How many balls you make there?
3, 4.
3 is shite for your level. This is a great drill to do, all levels. 5, 6 sets of 6. about a 25, 30-second recovery. You can work in a little bit of cardio with this, and you can expand your game, especially if you have a weapon in your forehand. When you have a weapon, my coach used to say, a lousy stat if we're not making it more of a weapon. He used to say, he used to hate it when a player would say, Coach, I was 6 out of 7 coming in. And Coach would say, you know what? If he'd have come in 13 times and maybe won 10 or 11, that might have been a 2-game swing difference. So a lot of times, one good shot, if you can maximize it more, can be the difference of 2 games. Difference between 2 games is the difference of winning a set 6-4 or losing a set 6-4. It's 2 games you won, 2 games they didn't. Okay, 6 this time, I call it. Inside out. Inside in. Cross. Line. Inside in. Inside out. Come on, come. All right, how many she make there? So for her level, the way that I see her play, okay, is the forehand your weapon? Sometimes. How often are you working on the forehand?
All the time.
All the time. Okay, good. Then I would say all the time, and it should be more.
It should be better, yes.
And you should be working on it more.
Yes.
A lot of players, when you feel good about your forehand, how does it elevate your game?
I play so much better.
Okay. So she just answered a simple question there for us. When she feels good about her forehand, her game goes up exponentially. Everybody's like that. Whether or not it's their serve, whether or not it's their back, whatever they do best, if you feel like that, it's working, it can elevate over bad areas of your game. I had my backhand was very average, but what I did amazingly on it was I managed it. I didn't try to go too big ever, never, because I tried to use my forehand. And then it's like identifying what you want to do with that. All right, let's do one more. Yes?
What made you different that gave John McEnroe so much trouble? From your perspective, did you do anything?
I wish that I could change the results. He kicked my ass a lot.
Yeah, but it also happened the other way around, and you drove him freaking crazy.
One time, no, but but you know what, Coach? That was in the Stone Ages.
No, that was yesterday.
No, the courts are now.
61.
Yeah. So, the one thing that I'm good about, Coach, I don't live way back in the day anymore. We're playing on slow courts. We play with different rackets, strings, everything. And the one thing I feel like I'm really good at is I live in present times. And the most important thing is now is not what we did way back in the day. If everybody was playing like that, I'd tell you that's really pertinent. But nobody's playing like John. There's people play like me because I was a pusher. And everybody hates playing against the pusher. They usually win a lot of matches and drive people crazy. We don't hardly see anybody serving volley anymore. John serving volley, he was, let me tell you, no fun to play against. I wish I could just change some of the results. Yeah, Coach.
Did you send Boris Becker Christmas cards?
That's a good question.
You're the man.
I said, listen, anybody I ever beat was a great win. Anybody I ever lost to, I wasn't happy about it. But the great thing about tennis, yesterday has no memory. That's the one thing that coaches got to really focus on. Yesterday is toast. Doesn't matter. The most important day in tennis is today and tomorrow. And way too many players, coaches, worry about yesterday's result, and they stress about yesterday. And so the easiest way to get over yesterday is focusing on today and tomorrow. That's how I am. Short-term memory loss. All right, one more. Yeah, good.
Do you ever ask them to call
Okay, I'll tell her to call 6 right here. Sure, why not? Of course I do.
Okay, just wondering.
Of course I do.
Work on your part, like make it work harder.
Yeah, but you know what? Gives the coach something to do. It's fun. Okay, I want you to do all 6 here. I want you to call them. Okay. So, Coach, good little thing you brought up right there. Just that a little adjustment of making her decide what she's going to do. She said before she was going to do it, what she was going to do. So many players have no idea what they're going to do until they're making contact. If you're making contact and you're deciding what you're going to do, you've probably given up your edge and opportunity. Doesn't matter if it's an easy ball, it's a difficult ball, you're giving up your edge. You're giving up your opportunity. So right there, did you feel like you were forcing yourself a little bit when you called it? Or is it easier when I called it?
I like when I call it.
Okay. Because maybe you might have a different thought of the shot that you want to play than what I call. But since I'm a dictator, I like calling it. I'm just kidding. And you know what? Most importantly, when you're doing drills, you're doing stuff, you want to make it fun. Coach has got to be adaptable, and you got to be willing to change. You change things up a little bit so player doesn't get bored. Player doesn't get complacent. You have to constantly reinvent yourself. Doesn't matter what level you're at. I was working on these exact same drills with a buddy of mine 2 days ago that's a 4.0. He's got a good forehand, but he's got a lousy forehand down the middle of the court because of his mindset. It just doesn't allow him. He either goes uber aggressive or under aggressive. He doesn't have that like 65 solid ball take the lead. And so we worked on that for like an hour, and he finally started to sink in. But it's like a daily challenge. Because like the next day he'll come back with him, he would say, I don't want to miss it. You hit it good yesterday. Let's take it from yesterday and get it a little bit better. All right, anybody else any questions about this one? Okay. You need a sip? I need a sip, though. I'm working hard. Okay. This shot, no, that's not mine. I can't be drinking somebody else's. Most important shot in the game at all levels. Who's got an idea where you think I'm going to go here? What's that? No, I mean service tomorrow. My favorite ball, and the very first thing that I worked with Andre with, is a neutral ball. A neutral ball is a great thing. Who's got an idea of what I mean by a neutral ball?
Heavy down the middle of the court.
It's not bad. I like to think of a neutral ball as return to sender. Let's say somebody plays a hard ball to you cross. The best player in the world now at the neutral ball, and he kills you with the neutral ball, is Novak Djokovic. You hit the ball hard cross, what's he do on the next ball? He goes back hard cross. He's being neutral. He sent the same ball back to you to deal with it. So many kids, even good college players, will get the neutral ball and they'll try to do something. They'll try to change the pattern. They'll take the risk and go up the line. They'll take the risk trying to go for a winner. Being neutral over 2 out of 3 sets over a long period of time wins you a ton. So I'm going to feed her some balls here, and we are going to work on just simply being neutral. So I'm going to play you backhand cross. I want you to play backhand cross back. Where was that ball? Late and middle, not a neutral ball. Not bad, neutral ball there. Good. Okay, that's a neutral ball. And a lot of times, what's your UTR?
9.2.
Okay, 9.2. So if you can play 2 consecutive neutral balls back, whether or not you're 7, 8, 9, 10, your odds of going to win the point are probably in the 80 percentile. Did anybody think she took a risk there in that? Nobody? But so many coaches, so many players will think on that same ball, take that ball and change the pattern, go up the line. Take a risk before my opponent takes a risk. I'm thinking like, especially if you're not, like she's a 9, why take a risk there? You want to take a risk when it's short. It's an opportunity. It's asking you to take a lead. It's asking you to do something different. So this is what I call the value of cross court. You have a big area of the court. Your whole goal on this ball is make sure you don't find it down the middle and you find it short. Like the first ball that she hit short down the middle. Maybe that's the ball that her opponent could take advantage of. So this is a great one to work on feeding. And this is a drill, believe it or not, I've been doing since I've been 4 years old. My dad was obsessed about it. My dad didn't know anything about tennis, couldn't play, wasn't even a 2-5. But between me, my brother and sister, all we did, we didn't do anything from after we warmed up 5 minutes. There was no second thing that we did until we made 25 in a row cross court, live ball hitting past the service line. If it took 35 minutes, 40 minutes, we don't change. That was like my every day. So this is a great ball that you can do with 2 players, hopefully at a fairly similar level. Live ball hitting on this cross. You know, seeing which one maybe has a little more will to be able to win one of these. You can just play a game going cross and then work on your live ball feeding of 6 balls. Okay? You guys understand the difference between the live ball hitting and on the feeding on that? So the live ball feeding on that is more simulated to match play. The feeding is more of a grooving. You know, a lot of players like to feed before they play so they kind of feel confident. Live ball hitting is great for practice, you know, a couple days before a tournament, so you kind of get that feeling of what you're going to do when you see that ball when you play. Okay, again. Live cross court here. All right, 6 in a row. Again. Good ball. Good. 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 A little towards the middle there. Okay, all of those balls right there that she hit, I would tell you she's in position to be ahead probably in the point. Who thinks she took any risk there at all? But if on those 6 balls right there, if I fed you those same 6 balls and you tried to shoot up the line, how many do you think you make? Okay? So then you would assume the risk. You know, I always say, you can assume risk when you have scoreboard. You're up 40 love. You're up 30 love. It's 5-30. It's love 30. It's 30-40. That same ball is not the time to take that ball up the line. Especially if you make it 1 out of 3, 1 out of 4. So this is a great ball to work on if you have, you know, let's say it's a 7-5 and an 8. at 8.5 and a 9. It's a little difficult, this drill on live ball hitting, if you got a 7 and 11. It's just too big of a gap, probably, for both of them to get anything out of it. And, you might frustrate the 11, and the 7 might get frustrated because he can't hang. So that's why on this one, you can have literally 2 or 3 players on the court, 7, 9, and 11, and just do live ball feeding on this. All right, one more of this. Do this both ways on cross, forehand and backhand. Good looking swing. Good. A little late. So did you guys know when I said a little late there? She was a little late, caught a little outside and down the middle. When I fed those balls, no way you should be late on that at your level. Once again, great drill to get cones and have your player look at the target. Even if somebody's like a 7, a 6, they're not very aggressive a player, but it's the same thing. Just if you hit it slow with a little bit of height, I got old school one-hand and backhand. It's just we're looking for direction on that. We're looking, to send it back in the same direction. Most kids get in trouble if they play that same ball down the middle of the court or they try to take it line. That's why I think there's a lot of safety and a lot of greatness in a neutral ball. A lot of great players, when I started with Andre, he was asking me about his game and what I thought. I said, you know what? You litter up the stat sheet way too much. Way too often, you hit 30, 40 winners, 30, 40 errors. You've lost to me umpteen times just doing that. I said, if you play the way that you play, and you make under 15 unforced errors, you will probably win over 90% of the time. Because of the quality of the way you hit the ball, if the rally goes 6, 8, 10 times, there's a really good chance that you're going to win a huge percentage of them. But I'm going to luck out if on the first or second one, you take a big risk and miss it. You make one, you miss one, you make one, you miss one. That's littering up a stat sheet, which a lot of kids do. And that's the plus minus of tennis, littering up a stat sheet. All right, anybody got any questions about that, Coach?
What are your thoughts on how high it should go over the net and how deep it should be going? And sacrificing power to attain that.
Okay, it's a good question, okay? We have completely different backhands. She has completely different swing on her backhand than she does on her forehand. You notice on her forehand, she has a lot more height and spin on her forehand. Backhand has a lower margin. So on her backhand, so when you're trying to have a neutral ball, you're not trying to get a skimmer. But since she's hitting the ball flatter, if we get it up really high, she's going to send them long. So you're probably looking at, on that backhand cross there, if you have a two-handed backhand, that level about an 18 to 24-inch net clearance. So if we get that, our whole goal is that we can get a little length in the court. I have one of the all-time slow rolling backhand cross courts where I get a little more height and I hit it a little slower, like that. That's my backhand cross court. I hit it a little bit higher, I hit it a little bit slower, and I try to let the court work with it. I also then have, because I'm old school, I'm a dinosaur, she doesn't have this shot. I also, besides that, I might hit it a little lower over the net if I slice it. I might go, so that's my two options. But more often than not, I'm going to hit the safe roller just like that.
You like putting the cone at about 3/4 court for depth?
On this drill, I probably would put about half a dozen, I might put one for a little bit of an angle. I might put one a little bit here. I might put one here. I might put one here. I put them all over the place. Everything on this side of the court, but I definitely don't want to forget about this short little roller cross. And I want to think about it a little bit deep. You know, and I just really want them to focus and concentrate on finding this area. And what we want to do is avoid hitting it, if she hits it too low, of hitting it inside the service line, because if she's playing somebody pretty good, maybe that's an easy one that they could shoot up the line on the next one. So that's why I say the value of a neutral ball cross court. Get a ball right here, and you send it back at about the same direction and depth. Now all of a sudden the point and the rally is restarted. Maybe we make our opponent, after they've hit or she's hit a good ball, that they take an undue risk on the next ball. I bring up Djokovic a lot because he's my favorite on it. He'll sit there and go cross, and then people get bored watching him because, Jesus, he's not doing much. But in actuality, he's doing a lot. He's playing safe, he's playing solid, and he's making you do something maybe you don't want to do it before you do it. And it's like people look at it, geez, he only hit 6 or 7 winners. That's all he needed to do. That's the beauty of tennis. That's where stats don't lie. You know, people look at it and they think that why didn't he hit 30 or 40 winners? Didn't need to. Maybe that would have caused 60 or 70 errors. Okay? Anybody else got any questions on this? This is my favorite ball in tennis. The neutral ball. Neutral ball wins a ton of matches. All right. Last one here. Tomorrow we'll get to the serve and the volleys. Don't think that I've forgotten about those areas of the game. All right. Quick question on what do you all think about the word defending? What's that? Yeah, that word defending. No, for your player. Yeah, because Murray's a genius at defending. He'd rather defend than do anything else. Okay. Defending is a massive area, underrated part of tennis. It's learning how to stay in the point. I call it live to see another ball. When we're in trouble, how are we going to stay in the point? And how are we going to get back in the point? Or if anything, how are we going to be able to transition from defending to maybe, we get an opportunity ball to, transition and turn the point around. So I'm going to hit her a couple of tough balls. I want you to defend with a little bit of height, a little bit of spin. Like if we get over here, a little bit of height and a little bit of spin. The key, so many kids, 90%, when they defend, the 2 biggest mistakes of defending is thinking they're going to be like some pro and try to rip a winner. It's a 1 in 10, 1 in 20 proposition. They feel great about making the 1. But if you make 1, miss 9, that's -8. That's 2 games. You're in a lot of trouble. And then 2 other things that you see a lot from defending, kids hit and they keep running. They don't stop on a dime and realize they got to get back in the point. But I feel like the most important part of defending is after you've executed that ball, don't sit there and watch, because so many kids will sit there and watch to see what their opponent's going to do after they defend it. You're in trouble. We need to just, if we take 1 step, 2 steps, any step that we get back towards home base, we have a chance of covering the next ball. So that's on this ball here. It's like instantly you tell them watch and defend as you're moving. Don't watch, stop, react. It's too late because then they hit a little short ball and you're toast. Or the classic one is just, kind of keep going. You run yourself out of the point. All right? So just a little basic defending And then, if you can, 1 or 2 steps back to the middle. Every kid at every level has got to defend. Okay, let's see how she defends here. How's your defense? She didn't say that very confident. What do you think? Okay, here we go. Get back. Okay. Good ball and high ball, but my first thought when I was watching there, I would tell you, you instantly pause for a second, right? She paused to see what was going to happen. So already on that ball, you're in trouble. So you tell your player 2 goals. 1 to make it, and 1 to take a step back towards cutting down the math of the court. Because the more that we don't move back, the more a kid can just literally kind of just hit a softball there and you're toast. No, assuming no risk because you didn't recover. Okay, again. Recover. Good. Okay, again. Good. Okay, good. Okay. Now, a good way to expand this drill is you do 2 balls. Going to go 1 forehand, 1 backhand. Going to defend hard cross. Both with air. On defending, you can go cross, and you can also tell kids you can go deep middle. Those are the 2 areas I like to defend. You know, we're not all like Andy Murray or Joker, Halep, where you can defend on the run down the line. Incredibly difficult. High risk, high reward, but incredibly high risk. Okay, here we go. Come on, come. Good. Okay, again, 1 more. Come on. Okay. Good defending there. Now, this is a great way where you do defending to transition. Who knows what defending to transition is? Nope. Coach back there.
Defense to offense. And defense leads to a short ball, get an offensive transition.
So defending to, I call transition. You're on the run. You got the ball up in the air. You got it a little bit deeper, a little bit more up on your opponent than they thought it was. And the next thing they know, they give you a ball that's short. So all of a sudden, you scurry back, and the next thing you know, you might get an opportunity to win the point. You see that so often in pro tennis, college tennis. Defending, you did a little bit better, but if you scurry back, you get the chance to all of a sudden transition. We're going to do 2 balls here. You're going to defend, and then you're going to take offense. So she was a little bit late on her recovery. That ball dropped. So as soon as you defend, get back, and then you have a better chance to take care of the offense. Okay, good. So this is a great drill to work on both sides. Defending in trouble, you can even yell, get back. Don't watch it. You actually hit a better ball than you thought you could. Now maybe you're going to get another ball. You know, because believe it or not, in the lower levels, defending will win. Pushing will win. But what we'll even do better is defending, pushing, and getting back. Cutting down the size of the court. Everybody hates playing against somebody that can defend. But remember, when you defend and move, there might be opportunity on the next shot. Okay? We'll do it to the backhand where you get a forehand here. So when you do this defending and then you feed a short ball, it forces you to all of a sudden, so maybe I did a little bit better. Now I move my feet, I'm a little bit more active to get the opportunity. But if she stays in the corner right there and watches the ball, that ball that I fed, she might lose the point outright because she didn't react and she didn't capitalize on herself hitting a good ball from that position. Got any questions for me? Did you ever work on your defending from defense to offense? Okay, good. Okay, that's a gift. Come on, come. Got to work on your transition. Come. So I always tell a player, when you defend like you're going to be in trouble. And when you defend like you're going to be in trouble, you defend with a little bit of height, and you come back expecting to have to defend again, but you never know. And one thing that you could start working a lot with kids on, something that wasn't around nearly as much as when I was a kid, come over here. I'll show you. It's a lot more economical on defending. Okay? So many players run through balls when they're defending. So you're a two-handed player, so it's really easy. Come over here. I want you to defend. I want you to move to the left, and I want you to take your backhand, and I want you to hit it and defend and move off of your left leg. And now watch how easy. Okay, go ahead. Defend. Okay, so it's something you don't do, huh? Big mistake. Huge mistake. You can save 3 steps by going like this and defending off the left leg. You see how quickly I did that? I don't even have a two-handed backhand. So same thing on a forehand. Open stance, you cross back. 90% of the kids will go closed stance or they'll run past it. You can be a 6 or a 7. Watch this on YouTube. Watch this. Your outside leg. You can defend so much easier and make up more time on your outside leg. This wasn't around when I was a kid. Everybody thought this was like taboo or something like that. This is new school and it's good school. Okay, show me on your forehand. Can you do it on your outside leg on the forehand? Okay, again. Okay, this is something you need to practice. Okay, I'm old and I'm moving a lot better than you on this. Instantly, see how, I'm much slower than you, and how much more economical what I did than. Okay, again. So when you're doing this like it, see how I'm going to stop right there. And then that one step, I'm already halfway back. I didn't do this right. Now this is new school. I do it. It's routine. It's really important for two-handed backhand. It's much more harder for a one-handed backhand, but using your left leg and defending back. These are really good economical ways from defending and probably having a chance to get transition on the next ball. This is new school. He was asking me about McEnroe. That's old school. That, you know, I have no memory. I only think about present day. I like that a lot better. All right. Who's got any questions? Yeah, you can, whatever you want.
I got one for you.
Yeah.
Do you think that style that you kind of played that was unique on the tour, did that come more from your dad's training you at such an early age like it did, or is that the way your mind thinks all the time? And one more part, Brooksby, a lot of people are comparing him a little bit to the way you used to play for today's game. Do you agree?
How weird is this? He's got, you know what his coach's name? Gilbert. Everyone thought I coached him. His coach's name is Joe Gilbert. Very clever game. And listen now, a few of the best players in the world, they're big guys that are counterpunchers. Medvedev, Zverev, Djokovic. They're all guys that use their legs and make a ton of balls. That's what Brooksby's doing. That's what Murray did. So I grew up playing in the 60s, late 60s, early 70s. We learned to play on lightning fast courts that were bald. And everybody, when I was a kid, everybody was coming forward. I kind of learned to play from the back. I was really small. You know, when I was 16, I got my first driver's license, I was 5'3", 105. You know, my freshman year of high school, I was 4'7". So I didn't grow till late. So I had to learn to play small, and I had to defend. But something that I always thought about maybe from the time I was at least 5 or 6 years old, I always found that everybody was always talking about themselves. From a very early age, I always was fixated on what my opponent did well and what he didn't do well. So that's how, like, you know, my dad, the only thing he knew was get a Safeway, a shopping bag, or, you know, a cart if we ever had one, is just feed balls. My dad doesn't even know how to hold the racket, but he'd just feed, or make me and my sister or brother hit. And he just felt like if you hit enough balls, he used to tell me every time, like, his words of wisdom. And he thought he was a genius. He'd always tell me, win the last point. And Dad, even when I was 30, I'm a pro. He'd say, make sure you win that last point. And then, you know, he's always said, don't miss. Those were his 2 most words of wisdom. Don't miss, win the last point. And he thought, seriously, he was pontificating genius. That, you know, but from an early age, even though I was small, I was always thinking about what somebody didn't do well. Because I'm thinking if somebody didn't do something well, I want to find that. You know, even today when I play, instantly I'm thinking about what my opponent doesn't do well. Maybe I want to find that. Especially on a big point, I want to find it. That's what I think about. Yes, sir, Coach.
So you were saying get backhand up high on to hit it. He wasn't doing it. So you just coach him to start there and feed him balls just to get it.
Say this again?
You were telling her to start up high on her forehead.
Yeah, okay. I would do it. Okay, let's say I had her for a week.
Right.
I would remind her, like if all of a sudden we were having I would start to remind her, if you want to have a good runaround forehand. If you'll notice, I didn't do this as much when I was a kid. The biggest difference now than 35, 40 years ago, everything was down here. Hard courts, the balls bounce higher now than clay. Everything's bouncing up. They're slower, grittier. So when I was about 35, I walked around the kitchen every day and I took my backswing back way higher because the ball is bouncing higher. Now, when we run around, I would tell her this all the time, you know, watch pros. If you're late and you're up, you can take a swipe at the ball. If you run around late and you're like this and your racket's down, you're going to miss it. So it's something that a lot of players can do, just walk around and take swings like this. Because 97% of the time, if you run around the backhand, where's the ball going to be? Where? You are rarely ever going to run around a ball that's low. If the ball is here, it's low and it's cross court, you're not going to run around it. It's too low, you're going to play backhand. So almost every pro, college player, good junior, when the ball is up, it allows you time. So that's why you want to have your racket up. You can take a swipe at a ball. Generally, if the ball is above your chest, it's an opportunity. If it's below your waist, I would tell you don't run around it. Maybe Rafa and Andre are the only 2 guys that can run around balls, and Fed that can run around balls below their waist. Highly unusual. Wish we could all do it. All right, how's my energy and enthusiasm and passion for this game? I can tell you there's nowhere that I like to be than the tennis court. I've never once been on the court my whole life and wanted to be somewhere else.